All right, so this morning what I wanted to talk about, remember the last couple of months we've been talking about how to overcome the people that are saying things like the market's going to crash, that everything is, you know, the sky is falling, we're all doomed, prices are going to drop. And we listed off a handful of reasons for why that is not likely to be the case in Metro Atlanta. Does anybody remember what they were? Some of them.
Not enough inventory.
Okay, so the counter to those that are saying the market's going to crash like it did in 2007, you're absolutely right. The 2007, 2009 timeframe, the issues were completely different than what they were now. There was excess supply and not enough demand at that time. Now we've got the opposite problem. We've got more demand than we can stand and not enough supply. Okay, so remember, 95,000 home deficit in new construction in Metro Atlanta. Every single builder in Metro Atlanta building at full pace, you're talking about almost 10 years to get caught up to that level of demand. Okay, what was one of the other major factors driving the Metro Atlanta marketplace? It's right in front of on the piece of paper, Ami. Population migration. Okay, so we all know I think instinctively know Atlanta is a destination location. I came here 20 years ago as a migrant, just like probably many of you. We all have been here and are in this game together, but I think it's important to look at where these people are coming from and to a certain extent where they're going to, because it could affect your particular business. One, it's knowledge that you need to have, just because it lends credibility to you when you spat off a statistic of something. So that will help you, but it's also key to several of you. Your target audiences may be a factor. Ami's in the room. Where are you from, Ami?
Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast. Continent of? Africa. You see some numbers on there that might be meaningful to you? We're going to talk about it here in a second. So that's population migration. The article that you have in front of you and the graphs and the slides that you're going to see on the screen, do you have one? I'm sorry. I am trying to figure out how to get that better. It might be a little better on the screen, but maybe not. All right, hang on, let me get it up there. There we go. All right, so the source of the information that we're about to talk about and that you have in front of you is something called a 2015 American Community Survey, and it's a product of the Census Bureau. I don't know if it's the Census Bureau's product. I guess it's their product, whether it's them directly or not, or some department within them. So we've said all along, one of the biggest factors of driving the Atlanta housing market is a population growth. Let's look at where they're coming from. Okay, so this is the in-migration. These are people moving to Atlanta. The largest proportion of those, and I apologize for the readability of this. It's hard to get that much information on there. Outside the metro US or Puerto Rico. That's a really vague answer to their question. Yeah, that'll work. One more. There you go. That's better. Thank you. So the first one is kind of a symptomatic or an issue of how they surveyed the population. So what they do is on the census survey, they ask, did you live in this same house 1 year ago today, or 3 years ago today, or whatever? And if the answer is no, where did you come from? That's where all this data is coming from. So in migration outside of the United States or metro area is the largest. The next one is Asia. Wow. Does that surprise anybody? It kind of does me. Asia before New York?
It's kind of weird because it says, what is it, within the U.S. and Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
But metro areas within the U.S.?
So,
Part of
Yeah, it could be rural Kansas, because rural Kansas, they don't have a city for Garden City, Kansas on this list. It's just somewhere other than one of the major metros. Okay, but say again.
It's expensive to live over there.
True statement.
Asia has 1/4 of the population there.
Mm-hmm. Huge migrations coming.
2 out of 8 billion people.
Okay, so could somebody make an argument that you might want to expand your target audience to maybe a slightly different cultural group, or maybe if you are a member of that cultural group or have some language skills that might put you in an advantage? That's telling me your market is ripe for the picking. Okay, so let's go down the list a little bit further. Next down, the fourth one down would be Miami, then Chicago. Oh my goodness, what's the fifth one, Ami?
Africa.
So I guess my question, Ami, is how come you're not selling more houses? Just kid you. But your target audience is prime, girl. And this would be very encouraging to me. And I would try to find a way to leverage this kind of information. You could put this in your elevator speech, and every time you're going to a Chamber of Commerce meeting, every time you're going to one of your business networking meetings, you could be spouting off these kind of statistics, and it just lends credibility to your business and everything that you're doing to try to help all of these immigrants from your home country to find what you found in our home country. Make sense? So it goes down from there: Africa, Athens, Clark County, Georgia. So we've got a lot of migration to our neighbors to the east. Europe is even below that. Central America. So your Latino communities, your immigrants from the south of the border. Several of you are targeting that audience. Guggen, I didn't even think. Is yours on here somewhere?
Yeah, Asia.
Well, I guess it would be Asia. Yeah, never mind. I just didn't know if they had the metro, one of the major metro cities from India in there. All right, and it goes down from there. Macon is the other big one within the state of Georgia. What's that? They made it, just barely, but they're there. Man, you got a couple of scragglers from St. Louis down at the bottom. Okay? So, it may not be meaningful for everybody in here, but somebody in here could find some meaning in this information. Now let's look at migration out of Atlanta. All right? Again, outside is going to be the biggest portion. Athens and Clark County, so a lot of folks, again, heading to our neighbors. Gainesville. Then you're talking about New York, Washington, D.C. Metro, Savannah, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Charlotte, Augusta.
Africans and Asians are not leaving.
Where? Say that again?
They're not leaving.
Apparently they're not. Yeah, it's a very valid point. It's a very valid point. So we've got at least one agent in this office that is focusing on relocation. And a relocation business, kind of important to know where they're coming from and where they're going to, right? So here's some good information, all right? And also you can, like I said, when you're dealing with a client and they're, you find out they're from New York, you can say, well, you're in great company, because you're like the third highest number of people migrating to Atlanta is New Yorkers. I've jokingly said we're going to be overrun by chain-smoking New Yorkers. Honey, we got to go see some more houses today. I've used that several times. All right, so now let's look at one other piece of information, which is the conglomeration of the in and the out. Okay, we're going to look at net migration, which is subtracting out the out migration from the in migration. So you get a better idea of what the net relocation is happening. And of course, top 4 are going to be New York, Miami, Chicago, Philadelphia. Anybody find anything there surprising?
Gotta focus on Miami.
Yeah? Yep. By golly, I'd be creating some partnerships with somebody in Miami if I was in your market, your target audience. So Panama City down at the bottom, all other metros. So here they eliminated the non-metro because it's just too big of a number. It's like subtracting the world from the world. It doesn't matter. Okay, so the biggest ones, as we said, New York Metro, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Chicago Metroplex, and then Philadelphia after that in terms of the biggest net growth or net migration. Okay? What questions do you have? Quick and dirty, 10 minutes.